have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY?
I've had several phone calls with the person who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I don't actually know his real name.
Help! I've been tossed overboard.
I'll have to bill you extra for my time.
Welcome to the show. You look incredible, like a dessert that owns a yacht.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. You know, sweet but slightly out of your tax bracket.
Mission accomplished. How does one even shop for a suit when your head is...
Gold on my neck, gold on my hand, purple with the stripes, that's the walk of a man. Sidewalk shining, city lights humming, every step I take, they know a boss.
Police or zombie problems? Your tortoise won't stop breakdancing?
Try blue tape.
The miracle of our age. Yeah! Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Mask on. Lights low. Size 14.
Cool, yup, down. They were selling me a Halo. Hands deep in the payroll. PR wolves in the raincoat, calling it a campaign. Same old 100K in the smokestack. Trust us will bring hope back. Every post was a blowback to the screenshots. Hit the group chat. Career crooks in a PR suit. One donor, pay the whole loot. 56 in a quick swoop. Left them hollow as a dry route. Timeline turning into siren. Every threat another siren. Can you feel the floor sliding? Yeah, we see where you're hiding. Now stop. Pulling down the curtains, receipts in my hand, now it's certain. You were out here grifting for the cloud and the cut. Now the whole feed watching while we're lining you up. Masked up, every line replay. Name and the tag, can't escape that display. You can scrub, you can spin, you can cry, that's enough. But the internet remembers and it's looking real rough. Yeah, that umbrella guy drop links. Suddenly your bravado shrinks. Every don't ass start to stink. When the totals never match the ink. Yeah, you were bragging in the group chat. Same time begging for a new stat. Talking justice in the hashtags. As you left about the cash grab, you said trust the plan. Now what? We just mapped every dime, every cut, every alt, every sock, every front. Funny how the mask slips in a stunt. Is it fraud? Is it cloud? Is it both? Is it law on your neck, on your throat? You could claim it's a game, it's a joke, but a lot of people broke when you spoke. Masked up, pulling down the curtains, receipts in my hand, I was certain. You were out here grifting for the cloud and the cut. Now the whole feed watching while we're lining you up. Masked up, every line on replay, name in can't escape that view spray. You can scrub, you can spin, you can cry, that's enough. But the internet remembers and it's looking real rough. Screens glow, ain't scroll, mask on.
What's up today, folks? How's it going? So we have a bunch of stuff today. You know, we have everything from ThATuMBRELLAgUY. So ThATuMBRELLAgUY, you know, this is not a new topic in its own way, but it is a brand new ruling. You know, ThATuMBRELLAgUy had been discussed as moving forward with paint chips and moving forward with Preston. Well, there was a request for it to move forward like that if a judge would allow the thing to be amended. Well, guess what? That happened today. So the 8 people that were not listed with that, the 8 people, they are now out. So we'll look at that. There are 2 that are still left on that. The others would be removed with prejudice, which is funny because they think with prejudice means they can't be sued again. And that is absolutely not correct. That means the stuff with the Lanham Act, all of that mess, yeah, that can't come back. Now, I imagine there are specific ones that will, like ThATuMBRELLA. I don't imagine after the certain claims that were made with the essay stuff, I don't imagine them walking away from that. Also, we have some weird things today, like police documentation where, I'll show a few today, and then for tomorrow, well, there's a bunch. So a little bit of foliage seems to have landed on some birdies, and the little birdie wants to chirp. Oh, there's some police calls. There's also some really, but would you all want to see something really interesting with that? Would you like to see something pretty amazing as far as the police are concerned in Levy County? Something that just really kind of gives away some of the Preston. There's a lot of stuff, just crazy business. I learned through the police items that, for example, that guy that showed up at the fence for Preston, the guy that was out there and they were saying was a trespasser, and there was one car that was actually they had 2 cars. You remember that video, right? Did you know they blamed Hales, of course, of course, but they said that Hales admitted that he sent them there. Oh yeah, it's in a police report. We also have one a police call about DJ Radis. But one that I really want to show you that's just absolutely insane. Check this out. And by the way, appreciate you folks. We're getting rolling here. Tell people we're live too. We've been lucky in the fact that with again, it's been a crazy week with everything that happened channel wise and stuff. But one of the things I have to be careful about is it hurting the channel in the algorithm. When some of that stuff happens, it definitely doesn't do you any favors. So if you would let people know that we are live, that we're out here, that we got some crazy business for you, and we'll be covering some court stuff. And I'm going to start one thing off right away for you. Now you need to brace yourself for this one because this is going to be amazing. Okay. Check this out. Let me make sure there is nothing here before I note this. All right, so check this out. This is about, now this is a call to 911, okay? So you need to understand, first of all, this is charting a call to 911. They're talking about what it's about. Here, check this mess out here. Look, this is again, it's a call in. It happened December the 1st, 2025, and it was by LP. Now, there was no report written of this either. You know what this was about? It was about LP getting with McIntyre about the protective order. Huh. Isn't this wild? So, what's really interesting about all of this, and we are most definitely talking to Tina this week again because of this, and there's two things. Number one, Preston admitted that there was a phone conversation between myself, her, and Tina. She admitted that stuff is real, so I'm going to review that with her. But also, she talked about the police plotting with LP. They plotted with her. Lynette bragged about it so many times. Well, here's her calling into 911 to McIntyre about the Ohio thing, and he's like, "Well, I can't come unless I'm subpoenaed." So I mean, she's brazen enough about it. She calls, and then she'll call back and tell him, "Hey, you know that thing that you got subpoenaed for? Oh yeah, it's been put off. It'll put off to another day." She's calling 911 and doing this stuff. It's freaking crazy. And again, this is let's see. There are five different contacts, all told, in this new subpoena bunch, on top of 3 audio calls. Now, one of the calls is the Travis call, which is nice to have with it right there. One of them is the fence, the guy who arrived at the fence outside of it. That's that call. And then there's a really long one about DJ Radis, which is interesting too, where she's calling in and saying, God, the stuff she said he did was just absolutely nuts. I've never heard of. She said that he, for DJ Radis, by the way, she said that DJ Radis took a picture of her daughter, put it on a shirt, and then put it on her shirt, or put it on a shirt, like a t-shirt, put it on the internet, and told her, it says send you soon, but I think it's supposed to be see you soon. Kissy, kissy. What the fuck, man? Now, I don't remember that happening at all. So, well, what? But yeah, that's, I mean, there are 5 different calls. My Lord, man. And we know on top of it too, we also know we have to do a FOIA on Sumter County for 2L, because there's been a recent 2L contact with Sumter County. How do we know? Well, let's just say a little birdie, the police, let us know. That's right. It's interesting when the police tell somebody, yeah, I know who that person is. They've been calling, making complaints too. Oh, fun times. But here she is. Here's Lynette Preston. Here's McIntyre. It's noting, Lynette Preston requested that I testify at court in reference to her ongoing disputes with Jeremy Hales. I advised her that I would not be testifying unless I was issued a subpoena to appear. Oh, Lynette thanked me for my time and disconnected the phone line. So she's calling 911. Again, now she bragged to Tina that she had been plotting with McIntyre and with Beecham, that Beecham, in fact, was a good pal of hers. Her words. Oh, we're great friends. In fact, she told me that too. Oh, yeah, we got a great relationship there, which we will again listen to probably Sunday. But these people, in order to come out, were supposed to have they're supposed to have been subpoenaed. So she's calling 911 to try to put it on record. You see how the game that they're playing. Okay, well, there's another one, weirdly enough, that goes with this too. Check this out. You want to see another one? Oh my God. Like I said, there's a bunch of these. Oh, I got to get a drink. You know, I wait all day. I don't give myself any caffeine until these streams. Oh wait, hey, I gotta grab a water. It's right across the room, but I don't see one over here. Give me 1 second. I gotta grab this water over here. I can have a Coke, but I gotta have a water too. All right, give me 1 second. Here we are. Now there's another, like I said, there's another police call right here, as you can see, and this police call is interesting because it continues this subject. Now, this one is 4 days later. Now, what's strange about this? So you're telling me she called on the 1st. Let me look up. I need to know something, first of all. Okay. So give me 1 second here. I've got to check my calendar just to know what days we're talking about. All right. I didn't think about doing this just a second ago. Give me 1 minute. Let's see. Calendar. I want to know what day this happens on, you know? So the 1st was a Monday. So they're telling us by Friday, you know, that first one, like I said, I showed you, it happened it says it happened at 12:37. You know what's crazy about that? Actually, you want to see something crazy too about that one? Oh God, my son is there. Give me a second. Oh, I've been sitting bad. There we go. I had to straighten up. That first one, the time log is interesting too. So in this, look, now this is the time log for it. But check this out. She calls in at 32 after, and she's with this whole thing for the setup. You know, when she calls in, she gets called back. It takes around 8 minutes. So we know the conversation between them, it definitely lasts longer than, say, longer than a sentence, I'm going to say. For sure. And again, Lynette had been bragging that she was having plenty of conversations with these folks. I mean, she's sitting around bragging, saying that she's been plotting with these people. If they can't get Hales arrested when he comes back from Ohio, that she'll get him another way. I mean, she was bragging about this stuff. So it's wild to find out. And then, see, notice that's on the 1st, by the way. So it's at noon 32. And then, again, they probably called her back. She probably called into 911 and then was told, hey, we'll have an officer, you know, get in contact with you again. That's funny. I like that, Lonnie. Lonnie said, instead of how ironic, you know, isn't it ironic? It should be, isn't it moronic? Don't you think? It's like moving to Levy County and then plotting with an idiot. Oh my God, these people. Well, then you have 12-5. Now this whole thing right here, this actually, she's calling into the police yet again. Another low priority call there. This whole incident right here takes about, well, it takes around 11 minutes all told. And this is her calling back. Again, she's so comfortable calling 911. She's calling into McIntyre to tell him, hey, you know what? We need to reschedule all of that stuff. That's stuff that you've been subpoenaed on. Now you think about this. For her to already pull this off in a week, you know, because she's lazy, let's say. If they did really subpoena these people, then I would love to see the subpoenas, by the way. But if they did indeed subpoena these folks, then they had already planned this together. Because again, Lynette Preston was bragging about how the cops, how they had already gotten things worked out and they were going to come after Hales. But this, again, so you're talking about Monday that it starts. By Friday, she's calling back. And this is about a time change with court. She's calling McIntyre. Again, because McIntyre, she noted 2 people. She said that she had been talking. Beecham was her good friend. Again, you think about that. This is a woman that has a protective order against her with another party, but they never do anything. Why? Well, they have a great relationship. Like I said, she bragged about that. Great relationship with not the police, but with specific police. It's almost like they have signed off on harassment. Like they're like, yeah, let's get that guy. We're going to run him out of town. It's so nuts, man. But she calls into 911, and this is what she says about it. She called to advise that the subpoena issued to me for today's appointment was rescheduled to 1 p.m. This is in reference to Jeremy Hale's attempting to continue or renew protection order, the protected order currently against Lynette Preston and John Cook. So again, they've been sitting around for a week while all this crazy shit goes on. What McIntyre is actually doing behind the scenes is pretty bad, because what he's been doing for months, according to Lynette, is he's been plotting with her. Beecham has been plotting with her. And how do you think anything gets done? Like when somebody calls in a protective order violation, when people actually physically speak with another person, what happened? Nothing at all. Oh, it's so nuts, man. And you notice her lawyer isn't doing the calls either. This isn't a lawyer calling in. This is nuts, you know. I don't know what to say about situations like this. Now, again, there are 3 more of these. And then on top of this, there are 3 voice calls. Now, I've got to go through the voice calls. I've got to pull out all of the items that are inside of the voice calls. You know, there's a few things, like, again, they did no redaction whatsoever. So Lynette, yeah, you know, I know you, I know all these people, they think that, you know, they've been talking about FOIAs a lot, right? Well, when they've given FOIAs over to us, they're not redacting anything. Levy County didn't redact anything. They didn't redact any of their addresses, nothing. So, you know, we're the ones that are redacting these things. That's right. Isn't that crazy to think about? But the first one to note, so there is a call. Let me listen real quick. Let me see. I'll tell you in just a second. I'm listening. This, okay, so there's the first one was about Travis. Then there's, okay, so there's one about, again, the fence. There's also a follow-up report with the fence incident. Again, we'll go over that in depth. It's about 1 minute and 21 seconds with them calling about that. There's also a, give me 1 second. I'm looking at the length of all these. So that one's 1 minute 40. There's a 3 minute and 24 second. I believe that one is about Travis. And then there is an 8 minute item that is actually about DJ Radis. So I have to work through. But like I said, I have to redact all the stuff because Levy County didn't. They didn't redact a damn thing out of it. Isn't that amazing? Don't you love that? Now, today we also had something interesting that hit. That would be the decision about whether or not, as far as Fed 2 is concerned, there would be leave to amend. Now, if you don't understand what that means essentially, can you go and can you rewrite some of this stuff? So as far as, give me 1 minute. Let's see, as far as, here it is. I'm pulling it up. Give me 1 second. As far as specific parties, can you amend the complaint and keep them in? So we have that. Now, again, there's already been a lot of discussion about whether or not specific parties would go forward with this. This case, by the way, I'm going to say that the way that the magistrate talked about it, it would have been very stupid to go forward with 10 parties. It'd have been stupid. And again, I think what you're seeing lately, when Fed 2 was filed, I think you saw a lot of reaction with emotion. It was just a pure emotional reaction. There wasn't a lot of, it was a, please let this stop. It wasn't planned as much as, people, they think when they file lawsuits, they think if they have a cause of action where they show people are trying to do damage to them. They think they're trying to damage business. They're going out here conspiring to do all these things. You can stop it. But what you learn is a lot of times it's not that simple. And the cost, I think, is very overwhelming. People do not understand how much lawsuits. I bet you with Hales, you understand it's going to be costly, but you don't understand. You think lawsuits are going to be in tens of thousands of dollars, not the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That number gets away from you real quick. I mean, when you're talking about, if you're talking about $1 million, like most people cannot absorb that. Even people who can absorb it, it's just, it's crazy. And it's for just a shot. So this lawsuit right here, before the third amended filing, this lawsuit cost over $100,000 by itself. Just this by itself, over $100,000. You just got to the serving portion. If you would have gotten to the discovery portion, again, 10 people, I guarantee you, each person would have cost way more than $50,000 a piece. So you would have been talking about just getting through all of that. You'd have been talking about a $500,000 easy lawsuit. Now, with everything that's set up, they asked to amend this because the judge was like, hey, as far as this ain't going to happen. You're not going to win. You're not going to win this lawsuit. So, they asked, hey, can we go back? Can we amend? We want to keep 2 parties in it. We want to keep paint chips in. We want to keep LP in. We want to simplify the complaint. We want to keep in a couple of things. And then these other people, we're just going to take them out. So the judge was like, yeah, that's what it is. So this is an order granting leave to file a third amended complaint against 2 defendants and directing entry of judgment for other defendants. So as far as Patty, so here, these, you had an action against 10 people. You had, of course, LMNOP. You had, let's see. So you had LMNOP, John Cook, Madskin. You had Lisa Lee, Rapuzzi, Weeks. You had Marla Huge, Patty Plummer, Helm. You had Keezy, Taschendorf, and Ray. Where's paint chips? Oh yeah, that's my bad. So it added after that. Okay, my bad. So the first complaint had all of those. Now, then they came back in. They dropped people. So they added to the first amended complaint. My bad. When I read it, I was like, wait a minute, is this missing a person? Okay, never mind. On the first, after the first amended complaint, they go in, they add a second plaintiff. They drop Patty Plummer and they add paint chips. So with the second amended complaint, they have the same plaintiffs, defendants with changes in the designation of 2 defendants. The defendants previously referred to Lisa Weeks, aka Lisa Lee, and now referred to Lisa Lee. And they previously referred to John Doe, and then they made it Ray Bone Crusher, or Bone Break is his actual name. So the motion of 8 defendants, all but Preston and Paint Chips, were granted in an order dated March 11, 2026. Now, Paint Chips had been defaulted. It moved to vacate the default and had not moved to dismiss at that time. Now, you have, again, on top of that, do you remember you have one other party? You have Preston. She's in bankruptcy. So with everything there, every claim against is stayed currently. So nothing moved forward with her. Well, the March 11th order granted leave to file a third amended complaint by April the 2nd, 2026. Now, the plaintiffs did not file a third amended complaint by the deadline, but on April 16th, Hales moved to file a third amended complaint naming only Preston and Paint Chips. Now, Paint Chips filed. He responds saying he responded inappropriately attaching an email to opposing counsel rather than simply filing a response with the court. Now, the order grants leave to file a third amended complaint, but because of the bankruptcy proceeding, simultaneously confirms that the proceeding against Preston, they remain stayed. Now, whether the third amended complaint can properly be filed against her at all may be unclear, but the litigation can properly go forward against the other defendant. So you notice this, all right? So with Preston, it's saying it's unclear if it can go forward against her with that at all. But as far as the other litigant, Paint Chips, yeah, it can go forward against him, leaving the second amended complaint pending against her while proceeding on the third amended complaint against the other defendant would undermine rather than serve the purposes of the bankruptcy stay. Now, as set out in the March 11th order, the second amended complaint fails to state a claim against the other 8 defendants. The deadline for a further amended complaint against those defendants has passed. There's no reason to keep them in litigation. So I expressly determined that there is no just reason for delay and direct the clerk to enter judgment as below. So you'll have what'll happen, and it has happened. You're going to have what is a judgment entered by the clerk, which has confused a lot of people because people think, oh man, what the heck is going on there? I see this, it's just the clerk entering what the judge is stating here. So if you see a filing, it's not the clerk making a decision, because there were people, I saw people look into that saying, what the heck is that? It's not a decision by the clerk. It's the judge making a decision and it being ordered. So it's ordered that the motion for leave to file a third amended complaint is granted. The third amended complaint, that would be, we have that, by the way. We can look at that, is deemed filed as of the 23rd of April, 2026. So that filing that you saw, now again, this just popped up, but it was considered filed as of yesterday. Okay, so I'll show you that in just a minute. So what you're continuing with. The clerk must enter a judgment stating, based on Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 54B, all claims against Cook, Manskin, Lisa Lee, Weeks, Marla Huge, Patty Plummer, Helm, Keezy, Stupid Dave, and Ray are dismissed with prejudice for failure to state a claim on which a relief may be granted. So this now, it's funny because you've seen these people talking about dismiss with prejudice. That means they think that means they cannot be sued again, but that's actually not correct. It's not correct at all. In fact, like I said, Lisa has really, if she would have been smarter about things, she would have known not to go out and not to tell people that she's sat around with libs. And she not only went out and magnified false essay claims, but she helped manufacture them. She herself said this stuff. You know, they sit around, they came up with something. She, Lips, and Chips, all of them. I mean, you talk about that. That's the kind of claim you want against a person. You know, that's the kind of stuff you do want. With this, you know, again, how many of these people do you think you could have collected money from? You know, at the end of the day, if you're not reacting with anger, how many of these people would you want to spend here's a question. Would you want to spend $100,000 going after Ray in court? Would you want to spend $100,000 going after Patty Plummer in court? So some of these people, I think the newer approach that we've seen, you know, some of these people, they've just fallen by the wayside. And other ones here, well, they remain in the game. So Mr. Helm, he put in a motion for judgment on the pleadings. You know, he put in a filing, and really, you know, people were asking about coverage on that. Well, this decision here would determine whether or not that mattered at all. It would decide whether that it needed to be judged, but with them not filing anything, that renders that moot because you already have judgment. So Helm, he would be out of it regardless. So the claims against Preston and Paint Chips remain pending, but all proceedings against Preston, they have to be stayed, again, because of the bankruptcy. The court retains jurisdiction to award attorney fees and costs on timely application under local rules for 54.1 and 54.2. Now, this remains for, you know, it's funny because people like Lisa, they think that they can get some kind of cost associated with this. Unfortunately for them, they didn't hire lawyers. So if you wanted money, you had to hire a lawyer. So sorry about your luck. Now, as far as Helm is concerned, Helm definitely he will file something asking for attorney fees. You know, so they'll come up with what they say they spent on it, which will definitely be, I'm going to guess, in the tens of thousands for sure. There's never any of this that says that you spend under that. With a few filings, you're probably talking about $30,000. I'm going to guess. That's a guess. I mean, who knows? We'll actually see, but that's going to be my guess. And the case is remanded to the magistrate judge for further proceedings. So ordered on April 23rd by, again, Hinkle. Now, as far as the carry forward, what they're talking about here for the third amended complaint. Now, this, again, for those that were keeping track at home with all of the insanity with that, this is the third amended complaint. Now, the third amended complaint is a much simpler complaint. It is streamlined on here. And again, it talks about how Lynette Preston, she went after Hales with claims that were inappropriate. She was malicious in that. And as far as Paint Chips is concerned, it's going after him for the revenge prawn. So let's look at this. Let's see. This becomes, again, we had talked about whether we would cover this or not. And like I said, we read the 182 off of that. And 182, that was the part the judge would read and determine. Okay, so he's determined, yes, you can file, and this was attached, so it is automatically put on. So this is your third amended complaint. And the third amended complaint, again, it is only against Preston, and it's only against Paint Chips here. And it talks about, again, we're going to skip the party portions because you know who they are. Now, again, remember, jurisdiction You know, it's already talked about that. You already have to have, again, for this, you have to have damages that come in at least, you have to have exceeding the sum of $75,000. Now, as far as personal jurisdictions over folks, this court would have it because people, you know, whether they're all over, you have one party, they're in Ohio, you have other parties in Florida. So here's what they talk about here. So as far as statements of fact talking about business. Now remember, Jeremy Hales, they go through the items that he is online. His business generates revenue through different places, including YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and others. He operates the channel What the Hales with over 730,000 subscribers. He operates a Facebook business page called What the Hales with over 327,000 followers. He generates revenue through advertising, sponsorships, monthly subscription fees from fans, and online auctions. He is expanded, continues to expand. I said expanded. Expanded. He's expanded. He inflates. He's expended and continues to expend substantial time, money, resource into acquiring subscribers, providing ongoing programs, and maintaining relationships and goodwill with them. Now, as far as Preston's initial relationship, it talks about Preston. It says that she was a viewer of Planet's social media platforms beginning prior to 2020 when she resided in Northport, Florida. Now, in December 2020, Preston learned through watching What the Hales that Plaintiff had purchased land for part-time operations in his social media platforms. And here's what I wonder, by the way. Do you ever wonder this? Do you ever wonder if she regrets all of the move to Otter Creek? Because think about this. They had a home, and the home wasn't a bad looking place, you know? It was actually a pretty nice looking home. They, I'm going to say that they didn't have the best relationships with people there. I think that's fair to say, don't you? You know, that in Northport, maybe they burned a few bridges and then some. But, yeah, exactly. Polar Spark said the Fleas think they're good forever and they can do anything now. They think they can never be sued again for any reason. Yeah, they think that. They absolutely do. And it's not smart. Again, if they had tempered some of the stuff they do, then they could do a lot. They absolutely can. But to go out again and to say, they have said with impunity. First of all, I'd say this differently. They have said, in my opinion, with malice. So they have said they don't care if it's true. They either know it's a lie, which I'm pretty sure they know it's a lie, but they don't care it's a lie, that an essay occurred, that an assault occurred against Lips. They promoted that idea. Not only they promote it, but they sat on panel with a few people, by the way. I would say any of those people, and they know I'm going to guess who I'm talking about, that any of those people that promoted that, they should be worried about it. You know, they absolutely should. But anyway, with this, I wonder, like I said, I wonder if Preston looks at this ever and thinks, this was a shitty idea. You know, I mean, they're out in the middle of Otter Creek. Instead of a home, they're stuck in a mobile home. They're stuck in the middle of this property where, you know, they've got cook living on the property in a freaking tent. They have a garbage wall and out there, the Great Wall of Otter Creek. Oh, what a way to live. You know, and on top of that, they have all of their projects are incomplete. And the money that they raised through all of this internet bullshit, somebody else kept. So I wonder if they ever regret that. But Preston resided in Northport. Again, Preston on July 17th, 2021, Preston drove from Northport, Florida to the vacant lot across the street, plaintiff's property, Levy County, Florida. On that visit, she took a photograph with another person. Again, we know who that other person was. By the entrance to plaintiff's property, falsely posted on social media that she had bought the vacant lot across the road and that plaintiff was now her new neighbor, when in fact, she hadn't even purchased the property yet. You know, they actually, Polar Spark, thanks for two. They actually said lips made it up today. Did they really? Can you shoot me a shot of that with a? Can you shoot that to me? Did they seriously say that? I did not hear that. If you can shoot me that in a transcript where it says that, I would be very grateful. So, yeah, if you could give me a timestamp on that and tell me in my email, you can tell me two things. Number one, you can tell me when they said that. And number two, if you can, like, you give me a timestamp on it. Somebody else already has an item that they already have a transcript set up, but I'd love to see that because they promoted it. And if they admitted, it's hard for me to believe that they may have screwed up and called it false. And if they did, holy God, that would be very bad for them if they did, because they promoted it like it was a wrecking ball. And I'm sure, there are other parties out there that could probably confirm that it was fake, by the way. There's specific other parties. And I wonder if they'd be willing to go on record and confirm that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So she takes her photograph. She says she's a new neighbor. She's not. But during that same July 2021 visit, Preston told plaintiff that she was a super fan and asked plaintiff if she could, if he could help remove a tree from the vacant lot across the road. Plaintiff, believing that Preston's representations that she in fact owned that vacant lot, he personally used his tractor to move the tree from the vacant lot. Now, on October 8th, 2021, Preston does indeed purchase the vacant lot across the street from the plaintiff's property. So, between December 2021, February 2023, Preston presented herself as a fan of plaintiff and would on occasion ask plaintiff for free merchandising, stated, hey, that she needed money to pay her bills. Isn't that something, Now, she likes to say that she never did any of this stuff, by the way. But something came up, I think you will enjoy, just to show you how let's just compare and contrast some of the things that Lynette Preston says. Would you like to see something where she says that she stated something and yet... or she never said something, and in fact, there is a record of her stating something? Would you like to see a wonderful example of that? Just to show you how this goes, okay? Because she loves to deny things that actually happened. Here's a beautiful one, okay? This is just one of like a million examples. I'm going to pull you up here, okay? So, at one time, see, Preston lately, this is from a brand new live stream comment from her. She says, excuse me, we have no lice ever or fleas. We've been destroyed by our stalker and his minions, destroyed us, trying to get us out of flea market, by the way. So she's like, okay, we've never had lice. We've never had fleas. But here's Michelle Preston. In August. So this is reflecting back. She says, no, but I'm having problems with the kids. Landon is very abusive to HG because he was so abused. The shed is disgusting and the car has fleas and the kids brought lice. I have so much cleaning to do. So she just said, again, we've never had lice or fleas, and yet here is a message from her that talks about they've had lice and fleas. So it's that kind of thing. And again, this is typical. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because this person tells you they never lie. They never contradict themselves. They only ever tell the truth. And yet, they tell you that none of this stuff happened. They never presenting themselves as fans. They never talked about needing anything, needing money or more. I'm sorry, I forgot to do something, by the way. I should have done this. I apologize. I forget. Let me see about blowing that up a little more now that it's setting like that. Apologies. Like I said, I forgot to adjust that. So, on or about February the 12th, 2023, plaintiff gives Preston 2 leap pads in response to a request. So now, 3 days after that, Preston asked plaintiff if she could attend for free a paid meet and greet live event that plaintiff was having in Levy County, Florida, with many of plaintiff's fans and supporters visiting from around the world. Now, plaintiff agreed to allow her to attend. So he's like, sure, yeah, you can attend. Now, 5 days after that, so February the 20th, she ends up asking plaintiff if she could bring her own donation box for the fans to the paid meet and greet live event. So she wanted money from that. And he was like, no. Because again, it's a meet and greet. It's something that they're putting on there. And, it also, I can understand why you would say this here, because here's one of the issues with something like that. You are now endorsing those people in whatever business that they do. That would not be something that I would be comfortable doing myself, I mean, these are people that, again, yeah, do they live across the street? Sure. But look at how it went. I mean, it definitely was the right call. So, God, have you seen, by the way, have you seen the new Travis video? The one that came up yesterday, by the way? Just to show, who people, Cook are. Have you listened to some of the statements that he had to say? And Travis was pretty funny in that stuff. If you didn't watch it, but you can hear him saying something like, is that the see you next Tuesday? The CUNT, see you next Tuesday. You're cheating on your wife. You can hear him say things like that. And of course he always goes to something nasty about women. He always is going with something nasty about children. It's so gross. But if you haven't watched that, you should watch it too. I mean, it just gives you an idea of who these people are. So anyway, he denies it. And then according to this, the defamatory campaign starts. So being denied access to solicit donations from plaintiff's fan base, Preston maliciously began doing injury to plaintiff's reputation. Preston began publishing false statements about plaintiff on her social media platforms beginning between May and September 2023. After plaintiff left Florida to return to Ohio in May 2023, she wrote a bunch of signs. You know exactly what these signs say, about being an ARPist. I don't want to go through every one of those. I don't want them on the screen right now. So, on or about May 23rd, 2023, plaintiff sends a cease and desist order. He's like, yo, you've got to immediately cease and desist with this unlawful defamation. You got to remove and delete all the postings that you put up and provide written assurance within 10 days that you're going to stop. You got to stop this. But despite receiving the cease and desist, she continues. And she still continues. She still talks about him. She talks about him being her stalker. She goes over. What's amazing, by the way? We heard that in the protective order that she said that all of the anti-Hales are the ones using her, right? And she's not part of that. And yet she's sitting in every live stream that they have now, talking about, quote unquote, her stalker and fueling everything. So she's definitely a party to that nonsense. I mean, she shows it every freaking day. So Preston's statement showing improper motive. On June 19th, 2023, she writes to Shara. She's encouraging Shara to cover the story. She states, I want to be able to sue him, Shara. I want to be able to win. Now, in July, so you fast forward a bit. Now, of course, there's continued conversations, but there's specific ones here. And props to Shara. I haven't conferred with Shara. Like, we've never really talked very much, but I do want to tell her again. She definitely took things upon herself and made sure that truth came out despite what these people threatened to do to her. So she did a very good job. I know she took a lot of lumps for it. So props to her. I have to say, props to her for sure. But she, on July the 2nd, Preston tells Shara, I need to sue this son of a bitch. Then she goes further and says, I want to sue him, and I hope to God he settles out of court and gives me enough money. Now, this right here, this proves something, by the way. You know what this proves? This proves that her statements about Jeremy Hales being the reason that she cannot afford to finish her home are absolute lies. Why do I say that? Well, if she had the money, she's been telling people that she had the money, right? She had the resources, but she had to use them on Jeremy Hales. Now, if that were the case, if she had the resources and then the resources were suddenly used up, then why would she need a settlement to continue the home? So you see how there's a lie there. Again, if she had the money to do all of this thing, then why would she need a settlement to give her enough money to quote unquote finish the house? That means she was out of money. She ran out of money. She's lied about this. She's lied to the people who, by the way, who gave her money too. That 2L kept, by the way. But she lied to them and told them that the reason that she doesn't have any money left anymore is because of Jeremy Hales. And yet right here with conversations with Shara Wolf, you can see that she admitted that she was already out of money. Isn't that interesting? I think it's interesting anyway. I think it's interesting. Like again, this thing too, just so people know, this thing will go on for a while. I think you're looking at least, the end of this year. You won't even, you'll finally see probably the end of the bankruptcy mess, but you are not going to see the end of these cases this year. You may not see it the next year. It's that crazy. And you may see more cases come up. You may see it not just from Hale. These people have said that they're going to launch their own lawsuits. So you had Paint Chips bragging about how he was going to launch lawsuits just to harass. I'm glad, by the way, there's transcripts of that where he said that he's going to harass and he's going to subpoena other people to harass them too, including Grimm's, because he hates that guy for banning him on Facebook one time. I swear to God. I love John. I love the fact that this guy, we told you, man, he's an awful person. And you were like, no, not going to do anything. Not going to do anything about him. And then finally he breaks your rules. You'd finally ban him. And he obsesses over you. If you would have just gotten rid of him from go, he probably would have never been able to do what he does to you. But anyway, so the stalking case. This is what gets Preston sued. So September 2023, she commences legal proceedings. She goes against Jeremy Hales by filing a petition for injunction for protection against Stalking in the 8th Circuit Court, or rather the Circuit Court of the 8th Judicial Circuit in and around Levy County. I get it right there. And you have the case. So during the Stalking case proceedings, she invokes her Fifth Amendment right against self-discrimination when asked questions about it. Again, now you think about the absurdity to this too. Regardless of how this turns out, the idea that you invoke the Fifth Amendment in a case that you yourself have brought is one of the most insane things I have ever heard, and one of my favorite things I've ever heard. You know, I kind of love that. it's so bizarre. I've heard plenty of insane cases over my time online and beyond that too. You know, I'm sure you all have heard some pretty insane ones too. But this, I've never heard of someone bringing a case and then when they bring the case, they refuse to answer questions in their own case. I've never heard that happening until now. So she goes from September to September. All right. So in September of 2024, she files a notice of voluntary dismissal of the stalking case immediately before a hearing on plaintiff's motions to dismiss the case with prejudice. So she keeps him on the hook, what this is saying, for a year. She denies him of his rights. She denies him really of everything, again, for an entire year. That's nuts. I mean, when you think about it, it's absolutely nuts. It's also sad how the judicial system works. It allows these kind of things. And they're complaining. They're like, hey, this was not something that should have ever happened. So they're saying I deserve justice. That's what Jeremy Hales is saying. I deserve justice because of this. Right before, there are other cases she's done this with too. On the eve of doing something, on the eve of making a decision about the thumbnail case. Remember, they did the same thing. That works against her too. You know that, right, Lynette? That looks really bad. It makes it look like you go out of your way to put together cases that are just garbage cases. And they were garbage cases, by the way. I absolutely believe, like, that's God. You can think anything you want about other cases in this, but I'll tell you that case that she brought, again, if somebody were to claim, you imagine this, you're denied your rights to things like firearms. You're denied the ability to protect yourself, and you're denied many of your First Amendment rights too. Your rights to speech. You're denied them for well over a year. Or right on a year, rather. You're denied this stuff. Like, most people, they can't even imagine being denied their right, especially for that length of time. But that's exactly what she did. She denied him his rights there for all that time. And then when he finally gets a chance to be heard, when he's finally asking, hey, can we get this dismissed? What does she do? Well, she drops it. So the stalking case, it was dismissed in favor of the plaintiff. Flavor. Now, as far as paint chips, defamatory and harassing conduct. So on or about January 28th, 2025, you have paint chips sending emails to the ADL. He's decided that's what he's going to do. He's going to send emails to the ADL. He's going to claim that this guy, he's an anti-Semite. He's going to try to get him canceled over stuff like that. In fact, he's going to use business relationships that he has to try to make that work out for him too. He interviewed a person that he has interviewed in the past, somebody that he's done articles about to try to back that up. So he contacts the ADL. Again, he tries to cancel Hales. And on top of that, in this email, he makes false statements. He accuses Hales of being an anti-Semite. He says that he compares him to advocates of eugenics and mass murder. And he says it. I mean, it's one of the craziest emails. When I was added on that and many others. You know, and it mentions sending emails to myself too. I mean, he sent some crazy email. I thought, you've got like how is this real? How is this guy out here doing this? And again, when you ask that kind of stuff, what happens? Well, weirdos decide to target you, of course. Yeah. He not only advocated and said that about Hales, he said that about other people. You know, and again, I have dealt with a lot of weirdos online. This guy, though, it's something else. So he emails me on January the 26th, 2025. He emails myself. And in there, he makes quite a few crazy statements. Statements that, again, that's something else. It'd be interesting because he keeps talking about how, you know, as far as cases are concerned, he's going to subpoena everybody. He's going to make sure that, you know, he gets to harass again everybody. He talks about like Rosalind Duke, for example. You know, the person he made, let's say he put together material that utilized a bunch of, I'm going to say, smexual toys. Yeah, that person, he's going to harass them forever. That's what he said. Oh, I'll do this. I will spend the next 4 to 5 years going after these people. 4 to 5 years. You know what? I'll take 5 years of fucking material online, by the way, Paint Chips. You know, again, he says that like it's a threat against someone like myself. I'm like, all right, I got 5 years of material. Fuck yes. But in the email, he makes all these statements. And then 2025, he posts a video online depicting plaintiff as I'm going to just say Hitler, putting a Hitler mustache on them, and engaging in the oral with a journalist. The video was published at the following internet address. Now, the images in the video also convey plaintiff's personal identification information through plaintiff's photograph and by specifically naming plaintiff in the URL and content. Now, he never consented to any of those. There was no legitimate purpose for that, and Paint Chips intended to cause substantial emotional distress to plaintiff by posting these images. As a result of Paint Chips doing this, plaintiff suffered harassment, fear, extreme embarrassment, loss of professional opportunities and prestige, strain on personal relationships, and prolonged expense and inconvenience. By the way, he continues to post it, even though he's been banned on multiple platforms. He insists and Fulmont, by the way, he also he keeps putting them up as well. Again, despite being banned for those specific reasons, they continue to do that. So, count one. This is against Preston. This is against again that protective order. It's for malicious prosecution. So he talks about again 52. We'll skip, because it just says all that stuff before. I'm saying, yeah, that stuff, it's again correct. So with 53, continuing, Preston commenced an original civil judicial proceeding against plaintiff. In September of 2023, she files a petition for injunction for protection against stalking against Hales. As it said before, the stalking proceeding was legally caused by Preston. This is important. It has to be caused by her. The Preston filed the petition and prosecuted the case against plaintiff. The stalking proceeding terminated in a bona fide manner in favor of the plaintiff. And then in September 2024, you have the dismissal. So you have the voluntary dismissal. Again, it's right before a hearing. It's really on the same day as the hearing for a motion to dismiss with prejudice. So the case was dismissed in favor plaintiff in a matter not consistent with plaintiff's innocence. There was no probable cause for the stalking proceeding. Preston had previously posted defamatory signs accusing him of ARP and other gross things, let's just say. And you know what really backs that up, by the way, these days? Again, you have the same people who say they don't say things like that. You have John Cook saying about Travis, calling him the Pied Piper of children, telling other people that he wants to take photographs of little girls. They called around. In fact, there are messages that are out there. I'm very sure of, by the way, I know they exist, where they called around Levy County trying to cancel Travis because, the whole fake pew pew incident. Yeah, they tried to cancel him with that. I mean, it's just insanity. So they say through that, it says a lot. So the evidence, though, it shows that Preston was the aggressor in the dispute, not a victim of stalking. During the stalking case, on at least 50 occasions, Preston invoked, so on at least 50 occasions, think about this, during her depo, on at least 50 occasions, she invokes her Fifth Amendment right against self-discrimination. I plead the Fifth. I love it. By the way, I cannot remember anymore who sent me that hat. The I plead the Fifth hat, but I love to wear it around. I wear it around all the time, like when I'm walking and stuff. I wear it around all the freaking time. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. But what that says is when she won't answer that, it suggests that she has no legitimate basis for her claims. She acted with malice in commencing the stalking proceeding. Again, she talked to Shara Wolf, saying, I want to be able to sue him, Shara. I want to be able to win. I need to sue this son of a bitch. And I hope to sue him, and I hope to God he settles out of court, gives me enough money to finish my home, pay off my stuff, and to get John Cook living elsewhere. Isn't this interesting, by the way? We hear about how John Cook is this great guy, and yet over and over throughout life, we also hear these things. Isn't that a strange message? It's also one that conveniently they try to shuffle down and not talk about when they're talking about how, again, either Lynette Preston is a false accuser, which makes her a piece of shit, but she would be par for the course with these people because many of them are false accusers, or John Cook is this monster. Either way, why would you want either one of them around? Why would you? Like, if John Cook is innocent, then Preston is an absolute monster. But if they admit that, then they admit something about Hale. They admit that she's a monster that targets people. If John Cook is guilty of the things that she's talked about, and John Cook is a monster, then they admit things about Hales and about Travis, that this monster they have backed for all of this time. Well, look at it. But they'll never admit that, will they? So these statements demonstrate that Preston's motive in filing the stalking case, it was financial. She wanted financial gain and retaliation for being denied access to plaintiff's fan base for fundraising purposes and not legitimate legal purposes. Yeah, so they're saying, well, she got butthurt. She's retaliating because he wouldn't let her put up her stupid blessing box, and she wanted to make money, The DA was in on it too. This is not, it's all nuts, dude. This is crazy. You got to think, though, this is a small town. Like I said, our DA just got fired for crazy shit. And I'll tell you, so when I dealt with a DA here, and I had a protective order, and to tell you how awful DAs are, period, I had a protective order. There was more than enough violation because of some stuff that came up. And the DA, they don't care. They absolutely don't care. Now, he got himself fired because he thought he was Wyatt Earp. He was running around, shooting a gun off in another county, shooting at suspects. and he ends up getting himself canned. But it shows you what DAs are like a lot of times. You know, we have a DA that's running again here, and she ended up getting defeated. There was a lady named Lisa Z. I'm going to talk about her now. She is controversial in our town, but I'll tell you, she also did some stupid stuff when so when I had a hearing. I'll tell you how bad these DAs are, but I'll tell you something after this, just to tell you how bad they can be. When there was a hearing talking about protective order and how to go for it. Again, all this is old. I'm just giving you an example, okay? When they were talking about homing kids, the DA in our town, even though I was a victim in something, the DA suggested that maybe I should relinquish access to my kids, let someone else come into the house, and me leave my home, even though I was the victim in a situation. You know, I'm not trying to get into the whole thing, but I'm just telling you how screwed up it is that they mess up so badly. They didn't even understand like the scope of something that happened. They didn't look into crimes or arrests or anything else, and they were more than willing. Like I wasn't even present in a hearing. I'm not there, and they're making these crazy suggestions like that when it's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. Now, the DA here subsequently apologizes. That lady does, and but it's still, you can imagine that's just a normal functional DA. When you get a bad one like what Hale's has, holy shit, you know. That stuff gets really crazy then. When one is malicious, you know, many of them are stupid, but when they get to the level that they're malicious, that's when it's really, 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 really bad. But anyway, so plaintiff suffers damages as a result of malicious prosecution. He incurs substantial attorney penalties and costs defending the case. He suffers lost business opportunities as a result of the stalking case. His reputation was damaged by the filing and prosecution of the stalking case. He suffers emotional distress as a result of the malicious prosecution, and the damages here, he notes from that, are in the amount of $390,000. So he's talking about now paint chips here, violation of Florida's sexual cyber harassment laws. So again, you skip every time you're going to run into this. You're going to run into they reallege and reincorporate. So what they're telling you is with this first sentence, everything that came before the count one part, we're saying yes. Right there, we're realleging that. That is all part of our complaint, and we're reincorporating it. So continue from here. That's what it's telling you. They always do that. So Paint Chips publishes a sexually explicit image of plaintiff. In 2025, Paint Chips posts a video online depicting plaintiff engaging in the oral with a journalist. The image also contained and conveyed personal identification information of plaintiff. The images conveyed plaintiff's personal identification information through plaintiff's photograph. Plaintiff was specifically identified by name in the URL. So if you don't understand, like when you click on a video, it has his actual name attached to it. So not only what they're saying here is not only is there a picture here of me, but in doing this, they also use his actual name in the link. You know, when you put up a link like www, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, they put his name in it. So people could not only identify him by picture, they could identify him by name itself. They made sure to personally identify them, which is important with some of the sexual cyber harassment laws that are in there. So plaintiff's physical attributes were readily identifiable in the posted image. The image and video were published onto an internet site. They were published to many internet sites, in fact. The video, you know, you can see here with the following address, you can see that it notes that they are, it puts both people's names in there. And as it notes, he never consented to it. He never consented to Paint Chips publishing that. He had no authorization, permission, approval, etc. to do that. There's no legitimate purpose in doing that. It was posted to harass and defame. The publication serves no legitimate journalistic, educational, or other lawful purpose. You know, imagine, too, what's wild is with the antis. If something like this happened, you imagine, and again, I am not in any way advocating for this, but you imagine if any of those people would have had a video containing them, if Paint Chips were the male in a video like that, and it showcased like Lisa, she would flip her shit. If it had Preston, they would flip their shit. But it's okay when done to someone else. That's what they're saying. So even in the in the defense of it, they're very hypocritical in their defense of it. You know, they say, oh, no, it's all good. It's all okay. And their audiences, they think it's okay too. Now, like I said, these are the same people that tell you calling a person fat is the worst thing you can ever do. But if you post a picture, you know, and you have a readily identifiable two people there, and you have them doing the oral, because you can't take criticism because you know you're a prison busted piece of garbage. Well, 2012, what's up, man? Rumble doesn't treat us like we're all five. No. To a point. I have a discussion with them Monday, so I'm going to see exactly what they have to say about stuff. I have that coming up, you know, like a legit, because what I want to find out, you know, we run business here, you know, that's part of everything that we do. By the way, if you enjoy this content, I should say this, think about Yale breadsticks. It has been an insane few days, so we have definitely dealt with some crazy. We actually have been talking to sponsors and everything else. We are trying to find something that we think people will actually use, that, you know, we ourselves believe in, but on top of that, we want to cut the cord, as it were. So we are looking at that, you know, for sure. But I believe these days that all platforms treat us like we're two. Just to be honest, yeah, they very well do, or they have the propensity to it. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm totally wrong, and they'll be the greatest thing ever. I hope they are. You know, but I've got a conversation with them Monday. I've already had a couple of conversations, but I have an in-depth conversation, let's say. So I'm supposed to talk to one of their people about how they have a specific, you know, how we get on the internet, like how we stream. They have a specific tool that is utilized for that. And they have ad reads. So I want to see what type of ad reads they have too. You know, I don't mind doing an ad read during something, as long as I don't want a bunch of hyper political bullshit though, you know. And sometimes that's what they have, a bunch of hyper political stuff. I don't personally want that. I would, however, love to be able to cut the cord, like I said. And it's not just that site that does it. It's going to be a lot more. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, you know, with this. But I do think it's an important thing. FYI, your birthday song helped with my loss. Oh, man. Well, 2012, by the way, let me give some love to 2012 here. 2012 has been here for a long, long time. You know, 2012 was a very early adopter, let's say, of the channel. 2012 has been around for a long time. Some of you guys I consider, even though I've never met talk to, you know, outside of YouTube purposes. I consider many of you friends with myself because, you know, again, like some of the things I've dealt with, loss, some of the stuff I dealt with family, the insanity I was dealing with solo, while you know, I couldn't talk about that kind of stuff too. You know, you guys were there, so appreciate you. But 2012, man, give you props, brother, because you've been here forever, and I do appreciate you. You know, but anyway, paint chips. His intent was to cause a substantial emotional distress. It's evidenced in the context of the publication. I would say that would be also evidenced in the emails that he sends, because some of those emails, wow. It is something else, you know. I will say this too. I was, as far as this whole mess that is going on right here, I was concerned with the filing that the judge would not allow this to go forward, period. I was worried about it. So, you know, I noted that, and I'm going to note that with anything if I am concerned about it, but it turned out to be good. So I'm happy with that, and I'm happy that the filing worked. I just don't, this magistrate, I feel really bad with. Like, it just, I don't feel like you can do a lot with the magistrate. I still worry that this thing is not going to be able to carry forward the way it's supposed to, or the way it should. But we'll see. You know, if anybody dealt with this stuff, like I said, Hale's deals with people like paint chips. You know, again, some of these folks, I want to tell you about the mod thing too after this. Remind me, don't let me forget about the mod thing. So prior to publishing the images, he sends out emails. He makes false statements saying that the plaintiff's an anti-Semite, comparing him to advocates of eugenics and mass murder. Publication, it's designed to humiliate and distress plaintiff. He knew the publication would cause distress. Yeah, pretty much, I would say that's a lot of stuff that he does. You know, I in fact think he does that with a lot of stuff, but that is my opinion anyway. I believe he does a lot to just emotionally distress people. You know, I think there are certain people that are brought into cases to cause problems, and they do cause problems, by the way. You know, they do. Very much so. So there's a Facebook page called What the Hales, which appears to be official, where fans of Hales, they comment in support of Hales. To their surprise, they find out it was nothing more than a hate group to damage reputation. Paint chips personally posted on the hate group. Here's, you know, give me a second. Let me see what these 1 minute. Let me click this. I don't know what it'll pull up, so I want to see what's open in the link. Give me a second. It actually doesn't with the media. So it goes to media. It doesn't go to a specific post. I was curious if it went to a specific post, but it actually it goes to the media itself. So this link is just to the media section. I was curious about that. So paint chips, conduct or harm occurs in Florida. Plaintiff maintains property in Levy County, Florida, does conducts business in Florida, suffers harm to his reputation and emotional well-being in Florida. He suffered damages as a result of Lutheran's sexual cyber harassment. Plaintiff was subject to harassment as a result of the publication. It notes, and experienced fear as a result of the publication, endured extreme embarrassment as a result of the publication, loses professional opportunities and prestige as a result of the publication, felt strain on his personal relationships as a result of it, has encountered prolonged expense and inconvenience as a result of it, and he has total damages costing him $370,000 in notes. So He asks her, what does he want with this? His prayer for relief. So, plaintiff respectfully requests that the court enter judgment in his favor as follows. Against defendant Preston, compensatory damages in the amount of $390,000 for malicious prosecution. And they're saying, again, she brought this garbage. She tried to ruin him. She tried to, again, when asked questions about the legitimacy of it, she would not showcase anything legitimate. Instead, she always pled the fifth, which we've laughed about a lot. And the reason we laugh about that is because it's absurd. It's absurd to think that a person, again, they bring a case against you, but they will not talk about the case itself. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely insane. So they're like, hey, $390,000, that's prejudgment interest on damages awarded there, the costs of the suit itself. So they're like, hey, it costs so much money. Now, against paint chips, a preliminary and permanent injunction pursuant to Florida statute, prohibiting from posting or otherwise disseminating the images at issue. So they want, as far as that image, he needs to destroy it all. There should be statutory damages in the amount of $370,000 or $5,000, whichever is greater. And against him, there should be attorney fees as well. And against them both, interest on all the compensatory or statutory damages and any other relief. So that's always added, by the way, you notice. It says, well, if you think there should be more, whatever you think should happen, why don't make that happen? So that is the new filing that is in. It is streamlined what is essentially fed to everything that it was. Now it streamlines and it makes into something that is much easier to understand and ingest. Now, have you guys seen the new the new video with Travis? I wanted to pull it up yesterday. When I say new, it was the video from yesterday. If you did not see it, okay, you need to check out What You Doing, Willis. All right. He's actually has a new video addressing the situation. I have not seen it yet because it came up 3 hours ago. But again, I want to give Travis some love with stuff. Travis is a funny dude. He's such a nut. And I say that with a lot of respect. I mean, he's these people, they do some crazy stuff. Well, first of all, Travis, throughout his video, he has some of the funniest just stuff in it. He's been working, if you haven't been keeping up with it, he's been working on the blessing box. He shows you all of that. He's also showing you his new bike in the video, but along with it, give me a second here. Along with it, check this. It's really funny. Okay, you want to see something really funny? Check this out. Give me 1 second. So at the very beginning of this, he goes through, and I love the preview here. So check it. This is the very beginning. You'll see a little bit more. So it's hard to skip right in this little area because it's
the instructions. More lies. Oh, by the way, you forgot to pick up your paper over there where it says children at play. Still,
look, the Great Wall of Otter Creek is talking, people.
The Great Wall of Otter Creek is talking, people. Isn't it funny though? Look, they sit behind that wall and they yell things at Travis. I mean, you look at it. That's what they do. They sit behind this and they yell obscenities and other things Travis, some pretty nasty stuff, I must say. But again, remember, they're always the victim. They're out there. They egg it on. They edge it. And then if anybody says something about it, they're like, oh, no, I didn't do anything. I never do anything here. It's amazing to me. You know, they pretend that they're totally victimized in it. But if you go through this video here, let me jump it forward. Just give me a second here. I don't want you to have to watch me jump forward. Now, again, I highly recommend you watch the video because he talks about other stuff that's going on in it too. So you miss out on a lot of contextual talks and more. You also miss out on Travis is just like I said, he's a nut in this stuff and I mean that in the best way possible. He is very entertaining. He is high energy. He says some of the funniest thing. But what I've noticed lately in him dealing with these people is he is also very quick-witted. That's something he does not get enough credit for. He is very quick-witted in his. So, like the other day when he's talking about, and I wonder if this guy, if he's found his manservant. I thought that was really funny. But here, let's pull this up here. So check this out.
Yeah, baby.
So at the end, if you missed the other video, by the way, you had Cook. He's yelling crap. First he comes out of the fence and he's bragging about how, yeah, Megan got demonetized, which didn't happen, by the way. You know, she was not one of the people that was hit. Mr. Coop still is dealing with that situation, by the way. So, if you want to give a channel some love, make sure that you watch Mr. Coop. I mean, he's been dealing with a lot of stupid with that. It's absolute absurdity too, for anybody to have to deal with. Essentially, I mean, what they're doing, they're not saying, by the way, these people, they try to frame it as if, someone had been hit by this because of the kind of stuff they claim. And it's not. What has happened is it's claiming that either you're a bot or you just make AI garbage material, which is not true. I mean, the guy runs a show. So obviously he's not, he's not AI, and he's not just creating garbage, repetitive, low effort, what do you call it? Brain rot is what most people call that stuff now. Where they just make AI material. Obviously, he's not doing that. He runs a show. So they made a mistake, but he is still trying to deal with that. So we've been making a little bit of noise with it, but you can write YouTube or whatever. Try to help the guy out. But Cook, he wants to take credit for that. He and Paint Chips also wanted to take credit for false flagging. So you remember that, by the way. They're butthurt about, Paint Chips got Volmet taken down, his own partner. So, of course, he's mad at the world for it because they're never to blame when they do it. It's everybody else's fault. But anyway, I mean, he brags about this stuff. And then he tells Travis, you're next. So then, while there's a lady there, that's checking out Tubetown, she's come over to check this place out. He starts running a weed eater for harassment. This thing you can see he's doing it he's not just doing it to be loud and to knock up dirt, in my opinion. He's trying to chuck rocks with it. And it backfires on him. So that's the background of what's happening. Let me make sure this is that on? Yeah, it is. Okay, there it goes.
He has to tie it when he comes out.
He's talking about the Great Wall of Otter
Whoa.
Creek.
Oh, easy. Okay, so why I went, whoa, because he was trying to walk in the gate and he's like, kind of stumbled back a little bit, then went to go again, and then stumbled back a little bit. So if you're wondering why I was like, whoa, that was the reason why, because it looked like he was having a little trouble walking. That's all. Look at that bad
Yeah,
boy.
he gets all
Right,
woozy about it. Okay, let's see.
Like this.
he's a lost
Yeah, the
for words.
manservant probably could help you.
Talking about his manservant.
Of course, you guys keep lying all the time. Look at now you're talking about little boys. Boy, oh boy.
So he threw that back in his face. He did. Every time he keeps saying, like I told you, it's very clear. He keeps calling him the Pied Piper of little boys. So he's, again, these are the kind of claims he says he does not make. John Cook, he lies. He lies a lot. When they talked about Hales, they said, oh, we never make claims like that about people. Well, here you have yet another documented issue. It blows my mind that they, like I said, they claim that never happened.
My goodness. Tight again. Oh, big word. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Again, I never bothered you people. You guys just keep lying. Keep lying. You guys still ain't showing no proof yet. You just get madder and madder. Did you just hear what he said? When he called the guest there at Tubetown, the lovely lady that was there? He doesn't know her or anything, but if that gives you guys any indication of what this guy is, obviously him saying F you, maggot, now he's calling this lovely lady a foul word.
He's calling her, again, you can follow me with the way I say this. He's calling her a C, as in the letter C, C-U, next, so it's an N, Tuesday. He's calling her that. So this random lady that just comes over, she's checking out Tubetown and stuff. He's calling her that. He's saying, is that the see you next Tuesday that you're cheating on your wife with? Like, that's how they treat just random people. So, one thing this woman can say, though, is that she got the actual the Otter Creek experience. I mean, she really did. Come check out Tubetown, check out the property, check out Otter Creek, have John Cook yell obscenities at you while you smell garbage fires. Doesn't that sound fun? They can make a ride out of it. That would actually be kind of a fun ride. They did, though. They gave her the legit Otter Creek experience. So, I mean, she can't complain about it, right? She didn't get the legit Otter Creek experience. What a weirdo, man. I ain't see it. I'm not sure who the lady was, by the way. Whoever you are, I hope you did have a great time. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. These people, they're nasty people. That's what they do. A person comes over, they're talking, and Lynette is always saying that, well, they have people over and they're pointing at her property. Now they're just standing there. They're just standing outside talking about what's going on. And he's, again, noting that that's exactly what's said. It's hard to hear it, but if you slow it down and you listen to it, that's what's happening. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You want to hear something nuts? So, Twitter, right? Yeah, you want to hear really? I think this is funny. So, the demonetization stuff that just happened. Twitter does they do payouts every month to couple of months, right, or whatever. Well, because of the demonetization thing, it actually kicked me up to about. Now I don't get hardly anything through Twitter. I don't do a lot there, but I ended up, because of that, I ended up making $50. So, it is money. I'm like, all right, well, that whole horrible situation, at least it did turn into some money somehow. And again, folks, I mean, you guys, you were very, what a horrible situation, man. But this situation in Otter Creek is nuts. It is absolutely nuts. Yeah, SF. She should have told John she'll never be as much of a see you next Tuesday as John is, no matter how hard she tries. Yeah, he's very salty. John is. He is. He's very salty. I mean, you think about it. You think about being such an angry piece of garbage that when a person comes and visits the place across the street, you not only have to get noticed with it, but you have to go outside with your weed eater again and try to chuck rocks and stuff at him, because that's what when he's weed eating, you'll notice he's running the weed eater into the ground because he's trying to kick up dirt and dust. But on top of that, it isn't just him kicking up dirt and dust. He's also kicking up rocks. And that is a very crappy thing to do, by the way. But I'm not surprised in the least. I mean, we are talking about people that, of course, they blame other people for every problem they have. They treat people like absolute trash. And yeah, they say he likes to call he likes to yell the maggot, agate word. I'm trying to make that clear, with that. He likes to yell that. And I personally think that he wasn't yelling that at first. That is my personal opinion. Hearing other stuff that John Cook says, I do not for a second believe he started out yelling that. I believe he probably started out yelling another specific bundle of sticks obscenity, And then I think Travis gave him the benefit of the doubt when he yelled it one time, and they've gripped onto it because I think he yelled something else at him. And then remember, the Fats tried to say that he wasn't doing that. He was actually, he was yelling it because he calls his dog that. So he calls his dog a maggot. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Once again, for those of you who keep watching my videos, like, oh, you're harassing him. So he's allowed to come out and call me names, but I can't say nothing?
No.
Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
There's no harassment.
I've done, to the gloves off.
Travis.
But now you see.
One thing Travis needs is he needs to not care what kind. I mean, some of these people, like John Cook, creates sock puppet accounts himself. He creates fake accounts. So he'll go on and leave comments being like, you're harassing those people, I mean, it's very telling. Like, these people, they're not good people. They're not nice persons, right? So that's what she always says about them. Yeah.
I guess all you people out there, all you lovely ladies out there who don't like me, I guess you're one of those, because that's what he called her, right? I mean, I don't understand it. He doesn't know her. He doesn't know you guys. But that just shows you the type of individual he is. Do you guys want to support him? You guys want to say hoo-ha, hooray? Great. Well, that's what you're hoo-ha, hooraying.
Yeah.
Sad. But that sure isn't. Oh, yeah, sure is. Once again, more lies. Oh, by the way, you forgot to pick up your paper over there where it says children at play. Still lay on the ground. You're littering, just so you know. You weeded it right by it, actually. This is actually kind of fun for me. Well, you're what? Oh, my. Look, the Great Wall of Otter Creek is talking, people.
I love that.
The voices from over the wall.
Travis is funny.
Man, he sure does talk about little boys a lot.
He does, actually. So he's talking about, again, he's hard to understand with all of this stuff. But yet again, he's talking about the same stuff.
He actually weeded it.
Look, that is their slow children at play sign. Isn't that awful? Look at it. It's right there. It not only fell off their, this is how they take care of everything. So, people donated for that. That's where they got their signs from. So people gave them that because they kept telling people that Hales was such a monster. He would fly up and down this road, and they needed a slow children at play. They needed a sign for it. Well, that sign that those people gave them, it ended up in the dirt because they didn't want your sign. They wanted your money. You gave them the sign. They were like, yeah, great. Well, whoopee. Yeah, we got a sign. Boy, isn't this lovely. So again, they show exactly what they thought of the sign. They left it in the dirt. I think that's telling. But anyway, there was also something else I wanted to know. So the whole mess with the mods, there's actually a long statement. I'll probably read it tomorrow that I think will go along with this that Stacy had put out. But she was talking. So there are 3 clips that have been making their way around, because if you haven't kept up with this, one of the older co-hosts that would go on with 2L, one of the people that was the greatest thing since sliced bread until, she questioned that person. She went after her again. And when she went after her again, it got pretty nasty. She said a lot of nasty things. Again, Stacy, I hope you see who you dealt with there. It all came from an incident. If you didn't see the incident, by the way, you had Georgie went over to 2L's chat, and and again, you can go over to whoever's chat. I don't care what you do. This is just not talking about it, and was talking about how I don't want any problems and blah, 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 blah. Well, a statement comes out about that. A statement from behind the scenes is reportedly behind the scenes. I have not seen any denials of it being real, but it says that essentially she's going and trying to play the Fats with this. Okay, so this gets in the hands of the ex-mod Stacy, who says, hey, these people, I consider some of them friends still. People like Robbie. You should choose your friends better, by the way. Robbie absolutely trashed all you folks and was talking about you being garbage. Remember? But I guess people got to learn the hard way, right? But anyway, I digress. She gives this thing to Robbie. She gives it to him, and Stacy does, and says, hey, you need to watch your back, essentially, because this person's trying to lie to you. Okay, well, 2L, when it comes up, tries to make it look like this statement was a conversation between the ex-mod and Georgie. She tries to make it look like, it was a plot they were having, and not that the ex-mod tried to help them out. So she tries to bury her with it. So the ex-mod and her co-host, I keep saying ex-mod, but also her co-host, she comments about this, and she's like, no, that's not the case at all. That's not what this was. I was just trying to watch out for some people. Maybe I made a mistake trying to help you guys. In fact, maybe that was a big mistake on my part. My bad. But she talked about how 2L used to have them go to all of the different channels and watch them for her. She used to have them, they were supposed to keep tabs on everybody and come back and to report everything that was going on. Now, you imagine that too. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? Can you imagine like me telling you, like say you're, part of this. Again, people do clip and stuff. I do appreciate that. But could you imagine me telling you, hey, go out here, watch these shows for me, make notes on it, and on top of that, the really crazy thing is the conversation that happened with, and again, I'm going to bring this up when Tina's around for sure, because I think she'll find this funny. When the conversation came up where Lynette had been talking to myself, well, 2L doesn't bother even listening to it. 2L lied about listening to it at all. So when she's saying that, she listened to everything, and did this or did that, according to Stacy, like I said, she lied about it. Isn't that crazy, by the way? So she didn't bother to listen to that conversation. She just immediately had someone else listen. Stacy was like, this, you've got to listen to it. This is crazy. 2L's like, no, I just want you to take notes on it. You're bothering me. And throws a fit about it. Treats you like garbage for doing what she asked for. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if, like I said, I'm trying to do you a solid. And the way that I'm doing you a solid, I'm taking notes on a conversation that Lynette Preston had with somebody else that, again, she's talking about putting you in jail. And because she was like, hey, I want to point this out. You really need to listen to this. She not only treats her ex-co-host like she's garbage, but she is still attacking her over it. So she put her up to doing it and then has been dumping on her forever. And I think that's very telling. In fact, Stacy, again, what's going to motivate you folks to finally talk about who these people really are? I mean, you had access to her, and I'm sure she lied about a lot of stuff. That money thing, she discussed the money and other items. What'll motivate you to finally talk about it? Because she has no problem talking about you. She has no problem not just talking about you, but trying to destroy your life. She's okay with that. But I think the mods or the ex-mods rather, and her ex-co-host are finally getting a little bit tired of it, which is good. But, also with that, remember, that's what other people put up with. You just got a little taste of what like a Jeremy Hales has had to deal with this nut job. And being quiet doesn't work. Like the one thing these folks, I think they start to learn is that silence doesn't make 2L stop. Never makes you stop. She's always going to take aim at you. She's always going to try to destroy your life. And trying to take the high road, as I've said many times, these people are more than happy to bury you on it. So when you went out, you tried to help Robbie. You tried to give him a warning about something that you thought was aimed at him and aimed at 2L. What did they do? Well, how did they repay you? Well, they try to wreck you for it. And again, she did talk about some of the stuff that had gone on with it, but I just find it, really interesting that, the wake-up call, the wake-up call it's an interesting one. It's even fascinating, I would say. But I thought you all would find that because that's brewing. And like I said, I think she's going to motivate one day. She's going to motivate Stacy to finally talk about what she experienced there. And she should, by the way. Stacy, you absolutely should talk about this stuff. Why would I say that? Well, because at the end of the day, 2L decided to not just treat you like garbage, but you talked about how she had ripped off people who had given her money, people who had they had gone out and they had bought from her and stuff. Well, maybe you should bring that up. Maybe you should bring it up to the point that other people understand who and what they're dealing with. because, more people are going to get ripped off too. And I mean, again, they noted that from the beginning of this, but they've talked about a little bit more here and a little bit more there. I'm just hoping that, before you finish it, Stacy, like she's going to try to destroy your life. She's going to happily try to destroy your life. And she's also going after, what's her name? Flutter too. I mean, she's talking about you, but it's funny, she's blaming Stacy for all of the problems that happen, of course. It's all her fault. She's a monster. And like I said, I would think after a while, it's like an abusive relationship. Like when you listen to her, it's like these people are in an abusive I'm talking about like an abusive spousal relationship or something. It is, because they're expected to keep coming back, keep getting treated like garbage, keep your mouth shut, never talk about the things you experience, because if you do, oh my God, if you do, so help me, But anyway, let's go through super chats here. Is 2L another way of saying loser squared? Yes, that is absolutely. See, when Shara used to say that, she would say, oh, it's the 2Ls. That's why I adopted it. I thought it was really funny because I thought it was loser squared. Yeah, that's exactly why I started saying that too. I thought it was really funny. Shara's the one, though, that first started that out. And like I said, I thought it was pretty funny. Shara has her moments where she really comes up with some funny stuff. And with that, they attacked her, but she gave back too. She wasn't just a pushover that dealt with a bunch of garbage. She also she was slick about things too. Like I said, Shara's not like some idiot pushover like these people thought she would be. They thought they would just bury her. And she was like, nah, I don't think so. So anyway, let's hit some super chats here. Tomorrow we'll go over some police calls, okay? I think you'll like this. What do you say? Does that sound good to you? Tomorrow, police calls. So, MaxLab kicks it off with a super chat. Thank you, MaxLab. I appreciate you. Oh, also, wait a minute. I saw something else. I saw a Cash App come through. Hey, what's up? Thomas, thank you there from, well, I see with the other thing. Keep it up. Love your content. Well, you know what, man? Love to you, bro. Love to you. I cannot say enough how much I appreciate all you guys. Y'all are some of the, if I had to choose people to co-host with, because again, this is your channel too. If I had to choose a group of people to actually have a channel, well, if I could be like, oh, well, I get to choose my my audience, I get to choose again, I think of you as more than audience. I think, again, you're the channel. So people who say, oh, that's my audience. No, it's more than that. But if I got to go out and reset and choose an audience, I would not change a thing. I think you guys are awesome, and I'm actually, I feel very blessed and fortunate with that. So thank you, MaxLab. Thank you. Rewrite, thanks for the 2 there. Jeremy said Crook got a $500 fine for the fires. That's hilarious. I wouldn't be surprised. He should get a fine. He should. Because again, with everything that's gone on, I mean, you think about how much money do you think it costs to bring out the fire engine? You have 2 people that are there. They have to come out. They have to do all of this. How much do you think that cost? Do you think it costs more than $500? I think you should have to compensate the fire department for their time and everything else, Absolutely. But Levy County, unfortunately, lets them get away with a lot. But at least if there's a fine, that would be good. Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership. And also, again, man, thank you for being here. You know, I do appreciate you, Fallen Hero. There are, God, I really appreciate all of you. Like I said, I want to take the moment, the opportunity to say this, especially after everything that happened the other day. You know, that was, I cannot, you know, it ended fast, so it didn't sound as big of a, you know, a deal. It was 24 hours, the demonetization mess, but I'll tell you, that was very stressful. And again, I appreciate you guys quite a bit, because what happened with all of that is I had to make a lot of noise, you know, to get something done about it. And a lot of people showed up, including you, a lot of you folks, you know, and that's one way that you tell a platform, hey, there's something wrong here. You have humans that speak up. I hope too that we can have that with Mr. Coop. I hope that people, you know, they'll speak up. They'll be very vocal about what's there too. And you know, we've posted about it. If you have a Twitter account, if you don't have a Twitter account, maybe you should get a Twitter account, because you know, first of all, Twitter's I like Twitter. I like Twitter because you can sit over there and you can argue and fight with people. I kind of like that. You know, you don't get suspended for doing that on that platform. But on top of it, you can, like, when situations like this come up, everybody came together. You realize that we not only brought these subjects up the other day, but we actually managed to trend that subject. So we managed to bring up the fact that that demonetization occurred. We managed to trend with all the people. Again, I'm very fortunate. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people had my back. You know, whether that's streamers, whether that's just regular people out there. Been doing this for, you know, I've had a channel for a long time, but I've been doing this right here. I've been doing it for almost a decade now, which is crazy business when you think about it. And through that, I've been fortunate. I do want to shout out a couple of channels, by the way. Andy Signor, he was Popcorn Planet. He was one of the first people to be like, yeah, you know what? This is a problem. I'm going to make as much noise as possible. So, I mean, right off the bat, Andy was all over it. So, I appreciate that. Geeks and Gamers, man. Those guys brought, I mean, they right from go. I hit up Geeks and Gamers. I hit up Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. And Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers was like, hell yeah. Like I said the other night, I called Yellow Flash in the middle of the night when it happened. And I was like, dude, I need your help. I need it now. You know, I've got to have some help. And when he answered, he was asleep. You could tell. I woke him up because I called him. I didn't think about the time zone or anything. I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible. So I call him, I wake him up, and I'm like, dude, like, I really need your help. Like right now. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? He can barely focus. But he did. Like right then, he started trying to help. Nerdrotic. You know, those guys, again, Grims, I think just all of these people over time, and it includes all of y'all. So I like I said, I want to give people thanks for that. I mean, that's my life. That it you know, that's my kids, their future. It also, you know, it's all that, I mean, I put a decade into it, but I am definitely after that. Like I said, I'm talking to Rumble and sponsors. You know, Megan and I both are. We're looking at diversifying. And the reason we're doing that is because that is a damn wake-up call. It was a horrible feeling at the end of the day to find that that everything you had there could be just, you know, pulled away from you and destroyed at the blink of an eye. So we're both, like I said, we're both looking at diversification. We've been talking to she already uses Rumble, but I'm trying to look at Rumble like a business and see what they add. So anyway, I know I talked for a minute, but thank you, Fallen Hero. I appreciate you. And thank you for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership and welcome to Tug's Thugs. And thank you too, because I get to say that every time you guys get memberships. And I do enjoy saying that. I do. I absolutely enjoy saying that. So again, thank you. It is funny though. I never thought I would do this for any amount of time. When I first started up in 2017, I've had a channel longer, but again, as I've said, I never thought that the channel could grow, and we could actually have any kind of impact whatsoever. But on top of that, I also never, when I first started, there was a channel that I was watching, and with this channel, I kept thinking, man, that channel is massive. Okay, well, that channel that I was thinking about at that time, they had 10,000 subscribers, and now look at where we are. So it's kind of amazing. And 10,000 is not chump change, by the way. I'm not saying that at all, but it's just amazing how things have changed since then. And thank you. Appreciate it. The instead of the song, yeah, isn't it ironic or how ironic? You or Megan should write a song called How Moronic. I think that would be funny. It should take their own words and use it too. Jen, thank you for the 5 months. Hey, Tuck. Hey, returned. Appreciate you. Thank you. Ugh. I know I turned back to that subject with the other day, but like I said, it is. Give me a second. You gotta think, I'm on a stream with Megan. I'm sitting here, I'm goofing off, and all of a sudden I get a message from YouTube telling me memberships have been paused. That's the first thing I say. Memberships have been paused. And I'm like, holy shit. I know what that means. I know that's a demonetization thing. Now, there's been nothing that has been done that would demonetize. Like I said, I've got an MCN. The MCN, they're another reason, by the way, that demonetization did not stick. They did a lot of work. Again, a lot of people did a lot of work, but I get this this notification telling me that memberships have been paused. I was like, holy crap! Again, what is this madness? What's going on? So from there, I start looking. Let me see. I get this. This is the first thing I get. Check this out. I actually have it saved here. So I get this thing, and it tells me, no, wait, that's the wrong one. That's the other one. But you see let's see. I think this is the right one. Let me find it. Let me see if I see it. I get that though, and it looks just like that one that I just pulled up with the channel membership feature. But I also get a letter that is talking about it, and it's saying that they've been paused, and it's telling people also on the outside that their memberships have been paused too. So check this out. It's telling it's telling people, well, everything's been paused. They're telling people essentially, we're going to pause and we're going to keep money. And you can request a refund if you'd like. Well, for myself, I'm like, what the hell is going on? So they don't give me a reason for any of this stuff. I have to go and look it up. So I look it up, and the reason they've hit me is because of the same thing that so many, thousands of channels got hit with: inauthentic content that appears mass-produced or repetitive to increase views without adding significant educational or other value. Essentially, you're a bot, and or you're creating what they call AI slop. just garbage. You're not adding anything. And I was like, that's wrong. First of all, I'm not a bot. I'm a human being. And second of all, I live stream for hours a day. You can't do that. So that's why I and many other people got hit. It wasn't just me, but a lot of people. And if you go on Twitter, it is filled with people out there. But over that, I was just like, man, this is devastating because it's, I worry about income from month to month. I make sure that I try to hit a baseline where I can, cover my bills and hopefully more. That would actually be great with a sponsor. Maybe a couple of sponsors, you could maybe hit the baseline bills and then, maybe build some money from there. Maybe help out like that, but it was just, like I said, it was crazy. And then to handle that, we had to trend. I mean, you think about this, okay? In order to get enough attention to do something about it, one of the things we had to do, we had a bunch of people come together and they end up trending this topic. Now, what I mean by trending is it doesn't just end up being a topic that I discuss on here. Look at this. This thing gets 200,000 views. And again, here, I'm going to take this down. I'll be right back with that. But this topic, you can see the post here where I talk about it. It ends up getting almost 200,000 views. And it gets YouTube's attention. Okay. YouTube, they're talking to me through DM. The MCN is going on. And again, on top of it, with the trending stuff here, it ends up becoming a mass topic, which, give me a second, I'll show you. But it takes this level of attention to get something done, which is, it's upsetting. It's upsetting because, when you're dealing with that, you don't know how it's going to come out. But here's the trending topic. So you can see here at the top with all these topics here, ignore these right there. But YouTube demonetizes creators for inauthentic content and apparent false positives. So it notes, here, several YouTube creators, including legal streamer ThATuMBRELLAgUY with 370,000 subscribers, Star Wars critic Drunk 3PO, and animator Bell Noctum, had their channels demonetized this week for inauthentic content under YouTube's policy against mass-produced or repetitive spam. ThATuMBRELLAgUY, who streams 2 to 4 hours daily without showing his face due to family threats. And others like Flash and Grim pointed out that automated systems mistakenly flagging human-made lives, analyses, and handcrafted animations. Creators must appeal, and they can. So with the appeal, when I appealed it, it could take 14 days before somebody even looks at it. You imagine just shutting off your income just out of the blue for 14 days and saying maybe after 14 days, we'll fix things. Maybe not. I mean, that's a frightening thing. But if you don't get it, if they say no, then you can appeal within 30. And then after 30 days, if they say no, you have to go to 90 days. So can you imagine how that would go? You get one shot at it. With my shot, normally they give people a video too. Like you can make a video and talk about it. For myself, I didn't have a video. I didn't have that option. I only had the write-in. I knew that it had to be a lot of noise, but it goes up to this point. And it talks about, hey, all of this stuff could push people to other platforms. So it takes that level of noise to get something done. But luckily, again, I do know enough people that I can get enough noise. And like I'm not trying to take any credit in that or say, oh, I'm saying I'm very fortunate. Over 10 years, I've made some very good connections. I consider them all friends. Ethan at Skyver was another one that talked about, again, all of these people, like Camelot, like I said, there's so many. I feel like I'm going to forget people in there, and I will. Even people I don't really know, like Sargon of Khan. That guy put it out there. And, you know, I appreciate that. Like I said, all these people, but there's a lot more. People like Mr. Coop have been hit. We've been talking about that, trying to get attention with it too. Because if you don't have enough connection, you know, I was looking when I started in here, I hit it a specific time, and I was covering certain things where all these channels around that I knew, we were all Geeks and Gamers was relatively big compared to everyone else. You know, they had a good size there. And I think Ethan and Skyber had around 100,000 subscribers too. So those two, they were relatively big. But like Nerdrotic, who is now 1 million subscriber plus, they were small. They were a small start out. Yellow Flash had 400 subscribers, you know, and so on. So I was lucky. I knew all these people in that little thing. All these people exploded out. But that's just being fortunate. And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that support system. And I hope that people continue to make noise with it. Anyway, I'm going to read these. I know I talked for a minute on that. But again, it has been a stressful freaking few days. I'm happier. I'm definitely happy with the outcome. My Lord. That, you talk about messing with your head, man. Kiwi Crypt Keeper, thanks for the 10 there. What's that? Is that Anzac Day? Is that how that's stated, though? In New Zealand, Australia, remember our fallen from World War I and onward. Yes, we will remember them and always respect those who serve with honesty and integrity. Indeed. And you know what? Love to families out there. First of all, love to veterans. I wish you were treated better. Just honestly, I've seen how veterans are treated. I've had plenty in my family that, you know, even if they do get the physical needs taken care of, a lot of times the mental needs are just ignored, and that's sad. So love to veterans out there, but love to their families too. You know, families go through a lot. I know the stress that my stepfather would go through his boy when he'd be deployed. He was special forces. You know, now he's had to now the military, because you know he was in so long, it wears your body out. But he would deploy, and we would never know where he would deploy. So he wasn't allowed to tell us where he'd go. And that was very stressful, and because you never knew what was going on. He could check in and say, "Hey, I'm okay," but that's it. And you know, like I said, it was very stressful. And of course, there's the families with the people who don't come back. And like I said, love to all of you, and we do appreciate you all. Melissa, thanks for the 2 there, listening on my 45th birthday. Well, first of all, love to you. I hope you've had a great day. And second, happy birthday. That's right. From all of us to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We love to have you here. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, baby. Here's to a million. Heck yeah. That is beautiful, though. I hope, like I said, I hope your birthday has been fabulous. If for some reason it has not been a fabulous birthday, you are allowed a do-over. Did you know that? Most people don't, but I set the rules, and I say you do get one. Mostly harmless fuzzball. I almost snorted. I came close. Thanks for the 6 months. It's infuriating because you're supposed to have a forum to seek justice when you're wrong, and every door's been slammed in Jeremy's face. Yeah. You know, unfortunately, it's like the federal case. When we, federal case Fed 1, when it first came up, I wasn't going to cover it. I thought it was a tortious interference case, and that's it. You know, because I had not looked. You know, and I thought if it would have just been a tortious interference case, I tell you, Hales would have had a real problem there. You see how he's treated. And a lot of people, they didn't understand we would say this stuff. They thought, you're being hypercritical about. No, we're not being hypercritical with the case. Talking about, with that, we're talking about how it is almost impossible to get justice. It's a sad reality. I mean, most people in dealing with cases, you cannot get justice. So it is sad. Almost all cases end up dismissed or settled. Almost all of them. The majority of cases that go through, and many of the cases that are out there too, they languish. Like, okay, look at the lip stuff, like with us right now that we're sitting there. We are still waiting for scheduling. That is not over. We've not, and it's a civil case, and they have not done anything with it. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, when you think about that, does that seem crazy to you that you have to wait on a civil case? It seems like you have to wait forever because that's the way that it goes, Most people have no idea that if you have a problem and you need to fix it, by the time, I think this was a shock to Jeremy Hales, that when he filed his case, he imagined not only that he would get justice, but I'm sure he imagined that it would be expedient. That he would be looking at being able to have something happen that would stop people from ruining his business. They did man. If you look at his channel and numbers, I mean, they did. There's no denying they did damage. They're proud of it too. They are proud of it, and one of the things that I think with that, if courts are saying that what they did doesn't matter, well, it goes both ways. I think that, if they're allowed to do that, then he is allowed to be hypercritical and to be very loud about them too. But yeah, I think courts, one of the things I've talked about for years is the fact that the expectation, the idea that you are going to get justice in the justice system, it is not a justice system. It is a just us system. There is a certain class of people that can get justice. But when you and I are faced with something awful, it is very difficult for a normal person to get it. Polish Spark, thanks for the 5 there. Welcome back, Super Chat. That's right. The fleas think they're good forever and they can do anything. They think they never be sued again for any reason. That's right. They think that. And they've given a good cause of action. Again, like I said, causes of action do not guarantee anything, by the way. But they gave Jeremy Hales a pretty damn good cause of action, with them going after and making up essay claims. Like I said, I don't remember who said that they had admitted that some of those claims were fake. If they did say something like that in a live stream and there is clips of it, I would love to see those. I would love to see some proof of that, because did they get it wrong? Yes. They made it up. I mean, let's just be honest about it. They didn't get it wrong. They made all of that stuff up. How do I know? Well, again, because Hales, when this stuff was happening, Hales mentioned the communication. He actually told other people. Now, why would he do that, by the way? Because he knew that this was their plan. He knew that they were doing something nasty, and they were going to, no matter what happened, they were going to make some kind of claim up. I mean, he knew it. He knew that. And we knew it too. That's why I said, you've got to document everything that she does. You've got not only there were certain things again he did not send forward, like she was sending very explicit stuff according to him, but you could see her mention some of that in text stuff. She would mention some nasty things, gross stuff, because she was trying to sexually manipulate, but you could just see the false claim coming. And sure enough, told him that was one of the things that was discussed. And when we're talking about all of that, it was like, they're going to make a false claim about you. They're going to say that they're trying to set you up. And he was like, yeah, I know that. So what you do in situations like that is, of course, you let other people know that it's happening. Because, what else can you do? But it's sad. There are people out there that no matter what, they will automatically listen and believe. I hate listen and believe. I hate it. I've talked about that for years. I think that these folks, when it finally is noted that somebody has lied about this stuff, it does such a disservice to real victims. There are a lot of you that have, there are a lot of people in my chats that have experienced horrible things in life. And I very much have empathy for you. I feel for you in that. And I hate false accusers for it because they ruin your lives. They take your stories, they hijack what you've been through. And they use horrible things that happen to other people for clout, They turn it in like going through something like that is not a clout experience. It's not something that you claim for clout. It's a scar that people carry around. But some people attach it to themselves as clout. And God, that by itself, that should piss off everyone out there, to be honest. Because it does. It pisses me off. Because there's no clout in that. It's not a thing to be like, yeah, this happened and, I blah, blah, blah. I just, God, that makes me mad. Anyway, let me continue. I know ranting, but, I hate these people. Polar Spark, thanks for the 2. They actually said, so is you, Polar Spark. I'm sorry. Send me over a shot of that, if you would, or somebody, if that, if that's not a misinterpretation. It does happen. Sometimes we misinterpret too. That's why I ask. So if it's a misinterpretation, let me know on that. But God, I really hate these people. Just let me know on that stuff. But also Bunsen, yes. The DA in on it, yeah. They're all in on it. The DA, the police, crazy stuff, isn't it? It's awful, isn't it? Blue Eyes, like I said, I love that freaking. I love your name with that. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. I mentioned the Rumble thing. Like I said, talking to them, got a set up Monday. Let me see what time it is. Give me a second. I set it up. I believe it's 2:00. I got to check though. I need to put it on my calendar again too. I had something set up on. Okay, give me a minute. Yes, it's at 1:00 my time. So for Monday, I've got I got to get some stuff going on. It's going to be interesting. I got a Zoom call in. They're going to show me how the Rumble Studio works. It should be interesting to break down with them. Again, I'm very much looking forward to it. I want to find out and see what's there for myself too. But yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Also 2012. Thank you. Mention that. And Emily, nobody messes with Lug and Bug. I know, they were saying the other day that these people never mess with people's families. And the first thing that came to mind was Tina. That's what motivated Tina to even talk to LP, to try to get one of these people to stop going after her deceased son, trying to use him as a weapon, which was awful. Then after all this stuff happened, they started, again, just imagine how horrible this is. They started calling Tina, and you know it's them. There's no one else that would be doing this stuff. They call her house. You know who had to leak her number. But they're calling her house, and they're using a voice changer to sound like a child. And they're saying things like, "Mommy, why would you let this happen to me?" Heartbreaking stuff. That's those people. They doxed Megan's kid, her address, and more. They've gone after multiple people's kids. I mean, it's just crazy business. But yeah, and I appreciate you all. You all stand up like a line, and you're like, no, none of that. Suzanne, thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you, Suzanne. It's lovely to see you as always, too. I appreciate you. I love that. Like I said, that it never, ever changed that ever. I'll never forget it. That's beautiful. Because, hey, look, you notice all the avatars. When people have avatars, you notice the backgrounds are always like filled in. And it's just interesting how your avatar comes in. And the white space, there's typically never white space. So it sticks out. And with the design and everything, you just never forget it. Something to bark about. What's up? Something to bark about. Again, let me give some love here. Something to bark about. I appreciate Something to Bark About's channel. If you have not checked them out, you should do so. They are a good way to get away from the stupid and crazy. They are, absolutely. And I like their channel, so you should check them out. Yeah. The magistrate is castrati. It is true, man. It is true. It seems like it, doesn't it? 2012, thanks to I thought his name was John Crook. Yeah. A lot of people, that is the nickname. I don't call some of these people by, Hales was like, well, I'm not calling them by name. I'm calling them by nickname. And that was okay until like a lawsuit. When the real names are out there, there's no reason to camouflage them. But yeah, SF, thanks for 5. She should have told John she'd never be as much of a see you next Tuesday as he is, no matter how hard she tries. That would have been really funny for her to say. I wonder how she responded to that. I'm going to ask Travis. I want to say, and again, I'm not sure who she was, but love to her. Like I said, she got the real Otter Creek experience. I think that's amazing. Like if I were going to go, I wouldn't want a pew-pew pulled on me or anything, but that's as close as you can get. 2012 also thinks is the 2L saying yes. It is loser squared. Yep. I love that, dude. 2012 also thanks for loose lips. Keep legs closed. Indeed. Indeed. It's so gross, man. Her claims were so gross. Emmy, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Emmy. Much appreciate you with that. Thank you. It is good to see you too, Emmy. I hope you're doing fabulous. 2012, thanks to Child of Special Needs, Adoption Grift. She says that the child has all the these medical issues and stuff. And again, I've never focused on that stuff. What I focus on is her statements of red flags. They include John Cook. She said some pretty awful stuff about him. So, yeah. Marcus, thanks for the 10 there. Hey, thanks for being you. Hey, thank you, Marcus, by the way. And thank you for being you, my friend. I appreciate it goes both ways. Mark, what's up, Mark? By the way, Mark here does some of the most fabulous Facebook work that you will see. Mark, I hope you go over to Locals, man. Because if, again, I hope people go over, you can post there. Like there's people that are starting to congregate there. I noticed a lot more people had moved over. And hopefully we can get some posting going on. It's you saw a couple of ice-breaking posts. Like I said, Mark, I think it would be good. Like Facebook, you all can be banned in a heartbeat. All these dozens of different groups. You see how many of them have gone down with Locals, and nobody will take you down. So appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate what you do. Hope to see it for a while. You Poindexter, thanks to them. Aren't they moronic? Don't you think? Yeah. Yeah, they really don't think. Exactly. The lyrics do write themselves. That is true. Aren't they moronic? Sean Poe, thanks for the 21 months. Thanks for always having your email open. Today is better. Losing 5 days of my life doesn't seem so drastic. Well, I hope you are continuing to feel better every single day. And you know what? Those things that come out of the blue and blindside us, that's life. That's unfortunately, that is life. That's usually, those are the things that really make the impact. And the more of them that we walk away from, that's really that's really, when people talk about being a survivor, that's what it means. So love to you. Remember, there are people always here. And thank you. SF, thanks for the 5. Any YouTube creator should back the channel up on Rumble, whether I agree with Rumble or not. It's offer some insurance and the platform will grow. Yeah, I've got to set up there. It's not a agree or disagree. It's the fact that platforms, they have to offer something as well. There are a lot of platforms out there, and many of them collapse. We have seen so many of them just fall apart. Now, hopefully, like Rumble has had some big sponsors, and they've had some big stuff that's kept them going. So hopefully, they will be there to stay, and we can actually see them grow and build. Because, how many have we seen that are supposed to be competitors for this platform here? And then they just remember, what was it, Odyssey? They're still around, but are they really? Remember the move for everybody moving there? What a waste of time. Nobody see. I've got my channel backed up there, but does anybody see it really? It gets nobody uses the platform, or barely anybody does anymore. It's kind of sad, but I'm hoping they continue to grow. That we'll see. We'll see. Well, like I said, I'm going to check it out there. 2012. Thanks. Nick said people get paid more for special needs. Yeah. You get paid more with disability. You got to remember, like a special needs child, you don't necessarily have to apply for disability or have to apply for whatever, but these folks, they do apply. They do get benefits on phone. I'll tell you the worst. I'm going to end with this story, and I've talked about this before, but it really tells you how fried this system is. Okay. I was dealing with a situation with a kid. This is in therapy. With a kid that had been just treated. I can't even tell you how awful what they had been through, right? But this child had been through just hell on earth, and their parents are the ones that put them through it. Okay, so this kid was coming in for therapy, and the parents, the state was trying to figure out if they could be part of this kid's life or not anymore. Part of it was a therapy need. Now, you could just tell from the parents here that they were awful. You could tell, man. It was terrible. They were terrible people. But they talked about, actually, they didn't just talk. They kind of bragged about the fact that when they got the kids, the way our system is set up, when they got the kids back after abusing them, these kids go into foster care system, and they go through some horrific stuff. Let's just say they go through some, truly horrific stuff in that. And these people, the state, after that, the state starts allowing these abusive folks. They think they would be better than the kid being in actual in the state's custody, which isn't that crazy. The state can't take care of the kid, So they're like, well, maybe we're going to give them back to these folks. Well, they give them back as a temporary thing. You know, they're going to try them out. And while they're trying them out, they pay these folks who have they did harm to their own kid. They pay them like they're foster parents. And these folks who have done all this horrible stuff and let this stuff happen, they not only got paid, but they were bragging about how they were going to go on vacation with the money. They were going to hire a babysitter and do this and do that. And they were going to go on vacation. So them hurting their own kids had become something that they not only profited from, but they were going to go on a cruise. And they were laughing about it. They thought it was the greatest thing ever. And it pissed me off so badly. I heard this as a therapist, and I thought, these poor kids, they've been put in a situation where they either in the state's custody, they were they had some, like I said, you can imagine the outcome I'm talking about. I don't want to say it here, but they had this stuff happen. And what put them in the state's custody was these people that are supposed to be parents. They have treated them so poorly that, I mean, just the unthinkable happened to them. So I saw that happen. I saw that play out, and I saw how the state dealt with it. And the state, they didn't care. There was nothing in that situation. The state didn't want to hear anything. They didn't want any feedback. They just wanted you to go by the numbers. I ended up transferring the case because the state would not listen to me. And I did not agree with these kids. I was upset that the kids were treated the way they were in state custody. What should have happened is the state treated them better, but instead the state didn't do anything like that. They wanted to, after these horrible things happened, they wanted to return them to these abusive folks. So yeah, that's what the state does. So when people also talk about, oh, well, the state, they're going to come in, they're going to do something, like CPS does this and that. No, they don't. They don't. And it's not on, I'm not talking about like your regular average worker. Your average worker oftentimes will want something good to happen. Many people get into that. They don't get into it for the pay. That's for freaking sure. But, unfortunately, that's reality. Anyway, I've talked for long enough tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to look at police stuff. It'll be good. And I may go somewhere tomorrow, too. I may take the girls. Maybe I'll go to Murfreesboro or something. I haven't been in a minute, so maybe they'll enjoy it, But I'm going to go ahead and pull this. I will see you in the morrow. I don't know who's live right now. I'm sure Jay is live, but I'm not sure who else is live. So go check out Just Jay. Actually, I like Just Jay. He's a good guy. He's also been getting some shit. Tomorrow. He's going to be doing a live stream, goofing off. I don't remember what it's about, but he said he was supposed to have something pretty funny tomorrow. So we'll see what it is. But anyway, I'll see you folks. And yeah.